Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you're well. Mainstream media experiencing a bit of a quandary at the moment with regard to their relevance, with regard to their accuracy, and with regard to the fact they're nothing more than state-run propaganda. This is something that I've come to the conclusion of, and I felt this way for a long time. This is something that other people have come to the conclusion of, and again, have felt that way for some time. It's obvious, particularly when you look at what your own news tells you, and then you go and look at something in another country or another newspaper from somewhere else, that the version of events that you're actually being told ain't the truth. The other thing that the mainstream media are very good at doing is hiding the truth from the masses. You know, there are stories that go on all the time, all over this country. And if it doesn't fit the narrative, then the mainstream media just simply won't cover it. One case in point, or one example, is this one here, which I covered myself over the beginning part of this month, which was obviously the election petition hearing in Chester. With myself and Graham Moore, the English Constitution Party. No major news network covered that. It had a fleeting mention in the BBC, I think, and ITV when the other side lost their appeal, lost their attempt at trying to get the thing quashed. But apart from that, no major broadcaster covered it. We're waiting for the results of that trial, by the way, and I'll bring them to you when they come. The other thing, and the more famous thing, is what's happened with the BBC over the last day or two. And Tim Davie has resigned. And it's all over this footage of this speech that Trump gave in connection to what happened in the Capitol on that January, that very infamous January. This is what Trump had to say. The top people in the BBC, including Tim Davie, the boss, are all quitting or fired because they were caught doctoring my very good speech of January the 6th. Thank you to the Telegraph for exposing these corrupt journalists. These are very dishonest people who try to step on the scales of a presidential election on top of everything else. They are from a foreign country, one that many consider our number one ally. What a terrible thing for democracy. Initially, the BBC was the state broadcaster. Initially, the BBC had a charter to remain impartial and deliver news in that way. And it's very obvious that for a great number of years, it's failed to do that. And you've got the lefties and the establishment types all having a meltdown today, foaming at the mouth, wondering what went wrong, what happened. What can I say, really? Well, what can I say? You are what you eat. The proof is in the pudding. I firmly believe that the BBC needs defunding. I firmly believe that the TV license should not be paid by anybody in this country. If you look at what it finances, what's going on, it's awful. So where do we go now? I mean, if you have a look at YouTube, for example, this video here that you're watching right now, and there are many, many other content creators who have taken it upon themselves to look into stories that aren't covered by the mainstream. For example, I get emails nearly every day from people bringing me bits and pieces, and when I can get out there on the road and cover them, I will do. We're not journalists in the official sense. Yeah, we're what's called, I would say, citizen journalists, where we get out there and try and expose what's going on. I want to play this short video clip here.
That way and round to that.
Okay, but that's for the sake of my safety. I can optionally opt out for that and decide to go through the quickest way.
For your safety, I would prefer you to go that way.
But it's not up to what you think is the safest route. It's up to what is the law stating. And if it states that activists can't get through here, I'm not an activist.
What we're saying is, for your safety, I would prefer you to go that
Okay,
way.
but what does the law say?
It's nothing about the law. It's about.
Yes,
your
it is, because you
safety.
can't block someone's freedom
I'm
of
not getting into
movement
an argument
without
about
enacting
it.
some sort of
I'm
law.
not getting into an argument.
It's not an argument, it's the law.
We can go that way.
You
if
know
wanna
the
go
law,
that way.
right?
It's
I
asking
can't
to get round that way.
People will be, you know, going to get harmed by coming together.
That was, of course, young Bob. Now, he's very lucky, because I know a generation of copper who wouldn't have put up with that level of disagreement. It would have been bugger off or you're nicked. And I know he's been arrested a couple of times at various events and various demonstrations. But the point remains, he's a young man who's taken it upon himself to get out there and mix in with what's going on. He's far braver than I ever could be, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. And he's pulling out some very, very telling footage of what's going on out in the street. You don't see that on the BBC. You don't see that on ITV. In fact, you don't see that anywhere, not to that level. With the police officer, an inspector by the looks of it, judging by the 2 pips on her epaulets, was she genuinely concerned about his safety? Did she misjudge him as an activist? Did she have some other opinion? Or was she trying to keep the crowds separate? Or she recognised him? Who knows? Anyway, have a look at this. Folks, this is not a journalist, just one of that group who call themselves some sort of auditor or whatever, and goes around with his video man making himself a nuisance and goading the police for a response to post on social media for clicks. Get a life. Just let the police do their job. This is Norman Brennan, who himself, according to his Twitter feed, his X account, is a retired police officer himself. So naturally, he's going to be protective of police officers. And he goes on with one of his later tweets and says there are actually a lot of police officers resigning because of what's going on at the moment. It was quite informative reading his feed, actually. But you know, to say he's not a journalist, he's not a journalist in that sense of the word, i.e. officially accredited, has a press pass and all the rest of it. But like me, he is somebody that wants to get out there, wants to do good, and wants to show people, you know, a real world unbiased view of what's going on, because we're not getting that off the BBC or anything else. Now, in that situation, perhaps what young Bob should have done, I mean, I don't know, because I wasn't there. Instead of arguing the toss with the old Bill like he did, he could have ended up behind the door again, you know. He should have said, okay, and found another way around. But, you know, it is what it is. He's out there. There are others out there. There's a young man that I think Sarah White has gone on and done a podcast with him, who started doing interviews with people. They're all out there. We are the alternative media, or albeit not official journalists. We are the alternative media. We are bringing you the truth that the BBCs, the ITVs, the Channel 4s do not. It's an accepted fact in this day and age, and it ain't going to change. You know, what more can I say? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for listening. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share my stuff, and as always, I look forward to talking to you soon. Toodaloo.